A man who had everything, success, status, and power, suddenly finds himself face to face with one thing he never saw coming: the quiet collapse of everything that truly mattered. As he races against time to reclaim what he's lost, a chance encounter on the sea changes the course of his life forever. Sit back, breathe deep, and let this emotional journey unfold. You won't want to miss a second. Liu, born and raised in Shanghai, China, hasn't always been lucky in love. Back in Xiaoshui, grade 1, even little Titi, the scruffy boy who never wore a matching pair of socks, was asked to the end-of-term dance. Quiet Su, who barely said a word, danced with 2 girls. But Liu, he wasn't asked by anyone. He felt invisible. By Gaozhong, senior year, Liu was determined to change that. He joined the art club, the music club, the science club, anything to be noticed. He placed himself at the center of everything, and finally, people saw him. Everyone knew his name. He became everybody's guy. That never changed, even at Fudan University. Liu was still the go-to person. He played for the university sports teams, never missed a party, and yet still topped his class. He was unstoppable. Shanghai was a modern, fast-paced city, perfectly suited to Liu's energy and ambition. It fueled his unquenchable drive to be on top. He couldn't stop. If he did, he feared he would disappear into thin air unnoticed. They have to know I'm here, he often thought. They all have to see me. For a long time, Liu got everything he wanted. He had the girls in college, the best grades, and while many of his friends were still struggling to find their footing after graduation, Liu was already receiving multiple job offers. He was on top. Within just 5 years, he had climbed to positions that only a rare few in his field could even dream of. Then he met Loli, and in a few short years, they were married and had a son. 6 years later, Liu still couldn't slow down, not even for his wife or his son. He believed that if he stopped, even they wouldn't notice him. They had a good life, everything they wanted, a comfortable home, and what once felt like a close, intimate family. But that life didn't come out of nowhere. It came because Liu lived for his job. He couldn't draw a line between work and family. Slowly, quietly, their relationship began to fade. Liu would rather spend all night sifting through endless piles of files than spare an hour for his wife or son. He never attended a single school event. At this point, Loli was certain he didn't even know what grade poor Bobo, their son, was in. She couldn't take the neglect anymore, not just for her own aching heart that longed for love and connection, but for their son, who desperately needed a real father. Liu was always late getting home, almost as if he were intentionally avoiding Loli's frustrated gaze. But tonight, something was different. The moment he walked through the door, a chill swept over him. The warmth was gone. The house, once alive with laughter and small, comforting sounds, now felt cold and silent, like it had suddenly become just a building, not a home. For the first time in a long while, Liu headed straight to his son's room. Maybe Bobo was asleep, or at least safe. But when he opened the door, an eerie stillness greeted him. The lights were off, and the darkness wasn't just absence of light. It was a deep, suffocating void, like a black hole swallowing everything, even sound. He called out Bobo's name. Only his own voice echoed back, bouncing off the walls and returning to him like a ghost. The room felt abandoned. Bobo had always been scared of the dark. He never slept without at least a tiny glow of light nearby. At least Liu remembered that much. He flicked on the switch. Nothing. No toys on the bed. No school bag in sight. Bobo wasn't there. Panic rising, Liu rushed to the master bedroom. He didn't hesitate at the door. He flipped on the lights without thinking, hoping to see Loli sitting on the bed, upset but still there. But she was gone too. The house echoed with emptiness. In the living room, a single white envelope sat neatly on the table. He had seen it the moment he entered, but ignored it. distracted by the suffocating stillness in the air. Now, trembling, he opened it. It was from Loli. "I'm sorry we had to leave. I tried to tell you so many times, but you never came home early. You never took your weekend breaks. You were always locked in your office or passed out on the couch by the time I even realized you were home. And in the mornings, you were the first one out the door. I've struggled so much with this relationship, Lou. Some days I wondered if you saw me and Bobo as obstacles to your success. I didn't want to believe it. All I've ever asked is that you give our son the chance to know a real father. We're far away now. Please don't try to find us unless you're ready to truly be there." Lou stood frozen, the words blurring through his tears. He had done all of this for them, and somehow in the pursuit of giving them everything, he had lost them. Desperate, he picked up his phone and called Chung, his old university friend, the one who always knew someone who could make things happen. "I need to find my family," Liu said, his voice shaking. "I'll give anything. I made all this money for them. And if they're not here, what's the point?" Day by day, Liu went to work a shadow of the man he once was. The spark in his eyes, the drive that once lit up every room, was gone. He moved through the halls like a stranger in his own skin, distracted, unfocused, hollow. He needed a break. Nothing made sense anymore. The job that once meant everything now felt meaningless. After all, what more could it offer him? It had already taken the one thing that truly mattered, his family. After a week, Chung's sources came through. They had found Liu's family in a small town in the south of China. Without hesitation, Liu took time off and boarded the next train, heart-pounding, unsure of what he'd find, but desperate to make it right. When he arrived, what he saw stopped him cold. Loli, the woman he had once promised the world, was managing a modest noodle truck by the roadside. He stood in silence, watching her wipe sweat from her brow and greet customers with a tired smile. He had envisioned a life of ease for her, one where she never had to lift a finger if she didn't want to. And yet, she had walked away from it all to do this. Loli, with her back to the window, took an order. "1 bowl of hot, spicy noodles," the customer said. "What toppings would you like, sir?" she asked, automatically turning. And there he was. "Liu?" Her voice trembled, but not from surprise, more like resignation. "Why have you come here?" Liu struggled to speak, but she didn't wait. "All I ever asked was for you to give our son a chance at a normal life, to feel the real love of a father. But you couldn't think about anyone but yourself, not even once." "I did all this for you and Bobo," Liu replied, the pain rising in his throat. "I wanted to give you everything." "Is that what you've convinced yourself?" Loli snapped, her voice shaking now. "You didn't do it for us. You did it for you. You wanted to be seen, to be the best. I never asked for that life, Liu. I just wanted you. I just wanted a family. But it took me years to understand that the most important thing to you was your own ambition, and I couldn't let us be the ones to take that away from you." She looked at him, eyes full of hurt. "You haven't changed. You're still making everything about you." Her words hit like 1,000 knives. Liu turned away, staring into the quiet streets of the little town. He had nothing to say, no more excuses, no more grand gestures. His entire life flashed before him, every moment spent chasing titles, applause, and admiration. And now, in this moment of raw truth, he saw it clearly. All he had ever wanted was approval, to be seen. But in chasing the spotlight, he had lost the very people who once saw him most clearly. Liu found himself by the bay, aimless but drawn to the sea as if it might hold the answers he was searching for. Without thinking, he boarded a small fishing boat, seeking silence, clarity, and direction in the peaceful rhythm of the waves. The boat belonged to Mr. Wang, an old fisherman with weathered hands and eyes that had seen more tides than most men see years. He noticed Liu climbing aboard but said nothing. He could tell when a man was searching for peace, and he couldn't bring himself to stop someone from finding it. Out at sea, as Mr. Wang cast his net into the deep, he paused and stared out toward the horizon. The ocean sparkled with a quiet wisdom, and his voice broke the silence. "You know," he said, "fish are funny creatures. When danger comes, they move in schools. One leads, the rest follow blindly. But at least they're together. They swim as one, enjoying the current, even when it carries them toward an uncertain end. Some make it to shore only to meet an unexpected death. Others escape one predator only to swim right into the jaws of another." He glanced at Liu, then back to the sea. "I've learned a lot from this life," he continued, voice calm, almost meditative. "And one of the greatest lessons is this: we must be mindful of every step we take. Sometimes we think we're running from a problem, but we're only racing toward a new one. The journey will always be uncertain, but if we don't stop to enjoy, cherish, and appreciate each moment, the risk isn't worth it. Otherwise, what's the point?" Liu had found the answers he was looking for. Without hesitation, he turned to Mr. Wang, bowed slightly in gratitude, and said, "Thank you." Then he quickly hopped onto the next passing boat headed back to shore. He returned to Shanghai, walked into his office, and resigned. By the end of the week, he was back in the small town, and this time, not as a visitor running from something, but as a man ready to rebuild. He paid Mr. Wang to teach him everything about fishing. The old man took him under his wing, and for 2 months, Liu learned to read the sea, cast nets, and live by the rhythm of the tides. Then, with his savings, Liu bought his own boat. Every day without fail, he brought fresh fish to Loli's noodle truck. At first, she refused to even look at him, wanting nothing to do with the man who had once put ambition above family. But Liu didn't protest. He simply left the fish and walked away day after day, rain or shine. Then one evening, after 2 months of quiet persistence, she finally looked up as he approached. "You can come by tonight," she said softly. "I'm making fish soup." That night, over a steaming bowl in her small kitchen, they talked, not as husband and wife, but as two people finding each other again. In the months that followed, they slowly rekindled their relationship, and together, they became equal partners in Bobo's life. For the first time, Liu wasn't chasing recognition or approval. He wasn't performing. He was simply living with the people who mattered. And that was enough, because now they saw him, and finally he could see himself too.